Hello, everybody. We are live. Thank you so much for tuning in for episode 10 of Spread This Witches with our special, amazing, awesome, doesn't need an introduction, special guest, Benebell Wen. And I'm here with my amazing well, first, my name is Chase. Let's start there. Let's start at a reasonable place, right? And my name is Chase Two Owls. Thank you again for coming. If you are new, we are extending out a huge, warm digital hug. Thank you so much for coming in. And if you are a regular, welcome back. You know exactly what to expect for the next hour. And I am here with my amazing co-host, Avalon. Say hi. And Allora, say hi. And as I was talking earlier, our awesomely amazing special guest, Benebell Wen. I'm now going to give her the floor to introduce herself and say a little bit. I think you might be muted.
Oh.
I got it. I got it.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? I was just flattering Spread This Witches. I said, hi, I'm Benebell, and I love Spread This Witches. I'm a huge fan, and so it's really cool to be part of you guys.
Awesome. I love it. We are obviously a huge fan of you. Like, we've been talking about this nonstop since we booked you. Like, we have, like, it's literally been, we've been on Facebook yesterday being like, she's awesome. And they're like, I know. And it's just like, you have been so, I just did a video earlier today too, just flattering the crap out of you because
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, well, I'm going to repeat everything in it. So, but basically, you know, what I said was, and I do want to repeat it because you have been such a huge part of my journey. You were one of the first people that, that I really started watching and, you know, really cultivating my spiritual practice and my spiritual journey. And just your knowledge and your expertise and your experience has been so crucial for me. And I know, and I get that from so many other people. So it's not just me. You have cultivated such a amazing niche of people, and your knowledge is just invaluable, and we appreciate you immensely.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. I know Arwen is also one of, you know, someone you named, so I'm really glad to be in company with Arwen because she's I'm a huge fan of Arwen as well. So.
Yeah, Arwen's fantastic. I could talk about her all day too. But yeah, you both were absolutely one of my go-tos, and the reason that I am here now doing this. And so it's kind of this amazing full circle moment that you're on our show, and now I'm getting to interview you. Awesome. So we're very excited. We're very excited. So as we do in all of our shows, we want to start out by giving you guys some new and upcoming events in the tarot and divination world. I'm actually going to let Allora start.
Yay! Thanks, Chase. Okay, so my new tarot news has to do with the STW tarot community project that we're doing. So far we have 50 channels that have signed up to do a card for the deck. We need 77 channels, so keep sharing the posts and spreading them around. There are stipulations to the deck, but mainly what we're trying to do two things at the same time. So we want to make this deck, but we also want to grow the community. So if you've been thinking about making a channel and you just haven't yet, or you're looking for a reason to make a channel, this is a good reason. You need 5 videos and you need to have an active channel. When you first start out, you know, you're thinking 5 videos, man, that's a lot. Well, you know, you could show us around your tarot collection. You can tell us your favorite card. You can tell us why you want to do this deck. I mean, there's a plethora of things. And then post on spreadthiswitches.com that gives you some more ideas as to how to start your channel. So yeah, we're up to 50 channels. We need 77. So keep spreading that around. Back to you, brother.
All right. So I am going to now give the floor to Avalon.
Hello. So of course, I have to start all my tarot news with a bit of bone stone action, and the bone stone is rolling beautifully. I'm not sure if you guys saw the debacle that occurred in our last bone stone bash where we designed the 4 of Swords in such a manner and felt really good about it, and then got off that live cast only to be simultaneously pinged on Insta by one of our, you know, viewers who noted that Lisa Hunt had just finished her 4 of Swords in the Pastoral Tarot, and it looked exactly the fucking same.
I missed that. I missed it. Oh man.
Oh my God, I was still like, we had just got off the live, so I was still talking to Anna, and she's like, she saw it before I did and went, oh no. I'm like, what? She goes, have a look on Instagram. I'm like, oh no. We just couldn't use it. So we couldn't use the image. So now the image that we spent time creating is not the image that we'll be using. So we'll be able to unveil that image this week on our Bonestone Bash.
Hey.
I'm so excited. It's happening tomorrow.
Hey, all I gotta say is people were talking last night, and it better be a hot man, because we got some people that need some tarot eye candy out there.
I'm gonna give you a teaser. The conversations that were rolling on between Anna and I went along the lines of to butt or not to butt. What does a good bum look like? Should we put too much bum? Is there not enough bum? Is there too much bum? Is a lack of bum? You know, like, these were the conversations. They literally revolved around an ass.
Everybody loves a good bum.
It evolved. Look, we designed it on the fly straight after, because I thought, I'm the type of person that if I were to lull in that moment, if I was to go, oh no, that's 25 minutes and all that creative juice, I just went, we can't use it, let's do another one. So we went straight in and designed it immediately, and boom, it came out. So that's what's happening in Bonestone. Aside from that, today is pretty much the last day that you can register for Ethany's Tarot Summer School. After today, the registrations will close. The Ethany's Tarot Summer School is a massive pool of incredible tarot talent. Wen is in the mix of that tarot talent. I'm off on the side, dancing away on the side there, but there's some amazing courses being offered there, and just, you know, wonderful stuff. And today is the last day. Now, remembering that you get lifetime access to all of the course material. There is no set time frame in which you need to complete your lessons and etc. So it is, take it at your own pace and, you know, have a really good time with it. So today is your last day. I wondered why my inbox was getting flooded with like ritual tarot stuff, because I'm like, oh yeah, today's the last day, so it's the last day rush, right? So get in there, and all courses are reasonably priced and amazing talent involved in that. I have notes. Oh, this is my own personal tarot tragedy. It's new. It has to be news. I went away over the weekend to make my shamanic drum, which I'm not going to talk about right now, but I went away on a weekend workshop, and I took my sun and moon tarot with me, and I journeyed under the stars, and I had my sun and moon tarot in a bag along with my flying ointments and my, you know, deer bones and crystals and stuff like that, all the things that you take, you know. And I got rained on, and my sun and moon tarot got rained on, and it got wet. And there's a little water damage on it now, so it's the sun, moon and rain tarot now, and and I'm a little bit sad, but I'm using it today anyway. Because I don't want it to think that now that it's damaged goods that I don't love it, because I still do. So that's my news.
That is awesome. So I'm going to finish out this new section with not one, not two, but two decks and a workbook that I wanted to bring to your attention. They're all coming out in September and October. The first one that I wanted to talk about is the Universe Has Your Back Oracle deck that is coming out on September 5th. And these dates that are coming out may be completely made up. I don't really know. I'm going to be really honest with you. I just know they're coming out in September sometime. So the Universe Has Your Back Oracle deck looks super good. I love the art on it. And definitely go out and take a look at that. Again, I think that's coming out September 5th. I know September for sure. The second one that I want to talk about is the Healing Light Tarot, which is coming out September 8th. Again, not real sure about that date, but I do know that it is September. Some of these I had to really dig and figure out kind of what dates these were coming out on, and I'm pretty sure it is the 8th. The Healing Light, the art on that looks pretty dope as well. And then the third thing that I wanted to bring up in my news is actually the one that I'm most excited about, and I don't even have this deck, but I'm tempted to go out and get it just so that I can use this with it. So the Wildwood Tarot is coming out with its own workbook. And, you know, the images that I've seen of it, it looks really, really neat, you guys. Like, this workbook is taking you through how to connect with the deck and just how to read better with the deck. And it's such a genius idea that now, you know, I see this, now I'm like, well, why don't they have that for this deck? Why don't they have that for that deck? You know, there's so many that I would want that with. And so again, it's tempting for me to go out and get the Wildwood Tarot just so I can work with this workbook. And that workbook is coming out October 10th. That date I do know for sure because I saw it on Amazon. So I'm really excited for that. And I hope that you guys are excited for that as well. And that ends our news section. So let's turn the spotlight onto our very amazing special guest. And let's first start off. So actually, before I do that, let's do this first. Do you, Ben, have anything that you wanted to? I'm calling you Ben. We're on a nickname basis now.
We are on a nickname basis, Chase.
And so I did want to end the news section talking about your new I Ching course.
Oh, I have a new I Ching course. Did you want something?
She really does. She really does. I've seen it.
Yeah. Do you want to give us like a little bit of like rundown of kind of the creative process behind it and kind of everything that it goes through?
Well, so I translated the I Ching actually way before I wrote Holistic Tarot. So the I Ching was something that's always been close to me, and I didn't know what to do with the text or anything like that. But I've been actually working very closely with it's sort of like a deity or goddess, Zhou Tianxuan. She's from the Chinese Taoist pantheon, and then that is really what inspired me to try to introduce that to the English-speaking world and bring I Ching, but an occult form of I Ching, and to sort of bring it back into the context of how it would have been used in the first Neolithic eras when it was first introduced into the consciousness, and not sort of how it was used later on in modernity. So I want to really take it back to the old ways and introduce that to the English-speaking world. So that's what the class is all about.
That is awesome. I am so excited to take it myself, and I have to brag. So as sort of perks, the perks we have here at STW are pretty insane and pretty dope. So the perks that we get some things. And so Benebell was super kind enough to send not just the I Ching course, all of us, not just the astrology course to us, not just the tarot chatto. Like, she sent us all of her coursework, faux fui. So that was super sweet of you, and I will, you know, send your name up in praise constantly for that, because, like, again, the work you do is just, it's so good. And, you know, going through these things, it was so good. It's so good.
You're either a telemarketer or like an evangelical Christian pastor in a past life. One or the other. I'm not sure which. Like one of those Bible Belt, like big church, mega church pastors. And I was like, whoa, pray. That's what you did in the past life, for sure.
He reminds me a little of Joel Osteen right now. Just saying.
Yeah. I was like, whoa, that's a little too much, dude.
It is never, you know, that's funny. I've been told that a few times. I just get real excited about things, okay?
I'm joking with you.
I'm allowed to be excited.
But I do want to say that there's a reason why we got to test drive all the courses, because now we get to talk about their awesomeness and how we fared with them and all that good stuff.
That's exactly right. We get to take all of that juicy wisdom. Now, I'm particularly excited for, I'm particularly excited for the I Ching course and the astrology primer, because I am a moron when it comes to astrology, and you know, and I literally. The only thing I know about the I Ching is that it's called the I Ching. That's it. I've got nothing on either one of those, and so. For me, that is a tremendous opportunity to then extend beyond that, which I don't know, and go quite far, you know, into those things. And then, of course, tarot and shadow, and tarot for the, what was it called? Tarot, the tool for the craft, as a tool for the craft. Now that's kind of my comfy zone there. Like that's a little something that I really like. So I'm really excited to be able to taste that flavor from an external source. And I have your beautiful holistic tarot book, and I often joke that you can actually, you know, if you were to hit someone over the head with it, they would die, because it's that big of a book. And I know that you pump out extreme amounts of information, and that is something that I'm so down with, because I find that You know, there are times when I'm reading and I'm trying to do some research and I'm taking a course and things feel a little bit wishy-washy for me. Whereas I'm overwhelmed by the amount of information in your courses. And so I feel like, wow, I can actually have a cup of tea and get a notebook and do this like old school university style where I actually take notes on the notes. And I'm a little bit nerdy like that. I like that. That's how I learn. So, you know, I've got all of this juicy information to like comb through. And then of course I'm going to be doing lots of talk about this on my own personal channel, and we're going to be talking about this on Spread This Witches, because we're learning together. It's like we don't just like hang out and have our lives, we're now study buddies. So you've helped us bond.
Awesome.
For sure, for sure. So I kind of wanted to start, kick this off by asking you some questions about your astrology course. So, you know, I've been in the middle of this for, oh gosh, I couldn't even tell you, see, this is how far I am. I've been in it for, I don't know, probably 6 weeks, not quite 2 months. And I wanted to ask you sort of, I mean, what was your, because, you know, there's so much astrology stuff out there already. So, but this is by far the most packed full of information, so well done, so easy to understand, so easy to comprehend, so easy to study. What was your idea behind creating this particular astrology course?
A lot of my friends wanted me to teach them astrology, and so this is sort of walks you through how I teach astrology. And I do always start with the fundamentals. I go through the foundation, the core, and a lot of times what I don't want to, like, I think there's a lot of really great astrology programs out there, but a lot of times it sort of glosses over the foundation and then tries to impress you with talking about the angular aspects. Let's get into horary astrology. And I feel like you really can't get into the advanced coursework until you have a very strong foundation and you understand both the astronomy and the astrology. And so that's where I really want to begin. And once you have a very strong foundation, I don't have to teach you advanced astrology. You just ascend very quickly and you level up very quickly on your own. So I just wanted to do something that really brought it back down to the basics.
Yeah, I love that. And I love too, you mentioned in the book as well that you really don't spend a lot of time on the intermediate stuff because, like you just said, once you know the basics, you can sort of advance very quickly. And I love that approach to teaching because I feel very much the same. You know, once you get the foundation of anything, if you do it well, then, you know, there really doesn't have to be an intermediate step. Really, you can go on to, you know, advanced, you know, whatever it is that we're talking about, you know, whether we're talking about astrology or basketball or basket weaving or whatever. You know, I don't really believe in that little intermediary phase either. Like, you know, there's your beginning and then you go into advanced things. So I really like that approach, and it works so well for this course. It's amazing because I did come into this, and I've said this before too. I came into this course, you know, like I know astrology. I'm not an astrologer. I would consider myself to be, you know, fluent, I guess. Definitely still a beginner though, and just everything just the way that you worded it, and you know, how it's done in this book. It's just like everything, like I relearn it and I know it so much better, and it makes so much more sense in my head. And now that I'm moving into the more of the advanced stuff, like it's all sticking into my brain a lot better. And for somebody that has ADD, that's a big thing to say because a lot of stuff goes in my head, but a lot of stuff leaves too. So the fact that this is all sticking is super well. And the other thing that I loved about these books too, so I love that so I'm to the part in the book, in book 1, where now you move on to book 2. And so then once you have book 2, then you can go back into book 1. And I love that too. That's not just me, you know, again, with ADD, I'm not just flipping a page and then reading it, moving on and flipping a page. I love that you work with them both, and you work with them both a lot. And I just like it a whole lot. What was kind of your thought behind that too? Like, did you purposefully make it into 2 volumes to work together, or did it just kind of how it magically happened and got pieced together?
Well, the reason is there's 2 versions that you get. One of them is it's like 550 pages. And then when I went to do the test run with Lulu so that you can print it through lulu.com and have yourself your own copy of a book, Lulu won't let you print it as a 500-page book. So I had no choice but to cut it into two 250-page books. And then I found if you just cut it in the middle, it didn't make a lot of sense, because if you cut it in the middle, that'd be like, you know, be like Aries through Libra in one book, and then all of a sudden and so I was like, well, that doesn't really make a lot of sense. So I took out all of the sections on the planets, the signs, the houses, the angular aspects, put that into book 2. So book 2 is basically a cohesive reference for the intermediate practitioner. And then book 1 is just the ins and outs and nuts and bolts and the how-to of astrology. And so I think this course, like for example, a lot of courses, people think they know what Aquarius is all about, you know, the detachment, sort of the humanitarian collectivism, but I want to really deep dive into all of the facets. You know, Aquarius is associated with astrology, for example. It's associated with the immune system and the skin and autoimmune. So when you look at Aquarius, now you have a lot more to draw from. When you do medical astrology, a lot of predictive astrology, the things that get very specific about people's lives, how can you look at somebody and see that perhaps in a past life, they died because of something related to their throat, and now they have to work on their throat chakra in their present life. You do that because, for example, Taurus or Gemini is present in houses 4, 8, or 12. So these are things that you only are able to do if you have a very strong foundation of what Taurus, Gemini, and Aquarius are. So that's what I'm hoping people can get from the class, is to really be able to have a lot to draw from, so they can be very masterful readers and be very precise readers as well. So.
I just became mildly fascinated then, because that's the first time I've actually ever heard of medical astrology. I've never heard of that concept before. I've never heard of that terminology. And then, of course, you just described very briefly, you know, how can you understand exactly what Aquarius is and something about past life. And I was very enamored by that description. And so I've got a question for you, and that is, you know, you have this beautiful astrology primer, and it's people are raving about it. I literally, when you launched it, I saw everybody going, I've got mine, I bound my book, I got this, and it flooded my news feed. And I'm like, I want it, but I don't have the time for it. I want it. And people are like, I love it, it's so great. And so I started to just recommend your book without having anything to do with it. I just went, Benebell Wen's got this amazing course. And I reckon I would have sold 20 or so of your books just by going, B Wen's got a course, B Wen's got this course, B Wen's got this course that I really want to do and I haven't done it yet, and blah, 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 right? But that aside, it's a highly appealing course. What would you say the aim is for a person like myself who has no real grasp on astrology? Where would I end up if I followed the steps and really integrated with that work quite well and got to that place where I had that foundational knowledge, which is the purpose behind your course? Where would I personally end up? What directions could I go after that?
So for example, I almost, when I do the in-depth tarot readings, I almost never do tarot without astrology. And I think the reason for that is when you learn all of these different systems, you can't help but notice they all connect with each other, and there's so much synchronicity. So certain cards that keep coming up in somebody's reading, if I happen to look over at their chart, all of a sudden things connect, you know what I'm saying? You see the same astrological correspondences in their charts that you see in the cards. And so once I saw that, I just felt like, well, it's like, why would you run a marathon with only one of your legs when you have 2 legs? And so I can't do anything without having all of the access to all of the information. So anybody who's a reader, and I don't mean tarot, I just mean a reader of signs of any kind, you want to have as much information as possible. And astrology opens you up to the stars, and it opens you up to the metaphor of as above, so below, and you understand very personally how things that are so far away can affect somebody's life in very precise ways. And when you understand that, I think you naturally gain wisdom and you know how to navigate your own life better. So I think it'll improve the way any practitioner sees their other craft. So when you understand astrology, you understand tarot better, and you understand the I Ching better. You understand other, divinatory systems better, because ultimately it all connects to the way, the universe has created a framework for us. So.
That's really interesting. And you have me thinking about how, take for instance, Scott Cunningham's Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs. In the very back of that book, you will see that he has herbs listed under astrological correspondences. And so taking that knowledge, what you have just said, and the concept of medical astrology, it now, I guess there's a way for astrology to quite well integrate into most things then, and for there to be a natural synergy amongst any kind of divinatory system or seership or readership for that matter. And yeah, I'm just like a little paradigm shift for me there, just a little something there. So,
and it helps you understand why you are the way you are. So for example, Allora, just because I watched some of the things that go on, one of the animal totems or spirit animals related to Virgo is the wolf. And so when you understand that you have this earth-based, you know, if you're very strong Virgo, there's a lot of things that you see happening. And also Virgo relates to like a priestess energy. And it has this idea of not necessarily like reproductive issues, but issues that tend to have complications related to the reproductive organs and to that kind of a thing. So just understanding different aspects of astrology makes me understand my own life better, and everything can, oh, so this is why I have skin conditions, because of all of the stellium in Libra in my chart can cause, you know how there's psychosomatic, things that are mental and spiritual can become physical. And that's the reason you can understand medical astrology. And also totems and animals.
Fascinating. I noticed that Libra was the culprit of skin conditions there. Did you hear that, Chase?
I did. I heard it. But that is actually going to bring me into my next question that I was going to ask you. So the other thing about this course that I just think is super stellar is that it's not just, you know, you're not just talking about astrology. You're not talking about stars and then moving on. With every single sign, you're bringing in, you know, crystals that go with it. You're bringing in animal totems that go with it. And I have to ask you, like, was that all knowledge you already had, or was that research that you put into this course in order to create it?
Research. So I've been working on an astrology book, but it's actually even bigger than Holistic Tarot. It's bigger than the books that you guys have for the course. I'm looking at writing down all of the angular aspects. Anyway, so basically in the research that I did, I looked into medieval texts. I looked into the same way I approached writing Holistic Tarot. If anyone has that book, you see that there's like 50 pages in terms of just the end notes and research notes. So same with the Tao of Craft, my second book. It's, you know, research intensive. I really bring in academic rigor, and I approach craft the same way I would approach writing a law review article and doing legal research. I use that same intensity of rigor. And so that's what I did with the astrology book as well. I did a lot of research. I didn't put in the end notes, but the end notes would go in a published book, where I definitely looked into a lot of old texts to see what the correspondences were in the medieval astrology texts. So.
Oh, that's so amazing. I love it. I love it. I could sit here and talk about this all day, but there are other works that you have done that I also want us to get a chance to talk about. So I actually want to send it over to Allora and have her talk a little bit about another work of yours.
Yeah, so the one that I really gravitated towards was your course on tarot and shadow. And first of all, let me just say that for anybody who might be even mildly interested in taking your courses, holy shit, I have never seen that much material for a course. I mean, the book for tarot and shadow is what, 400 pages, 398 pages, right?
I have no idea. I don't remember.
Well, it's huge.
It's about 400 pages.
Yeah.
That's 400. That's not
Really?
38. That's not 22. It's 400.
I thought it was 200. Are you sure? Oh, okay, you're right. Oh, shit. I thought it was 200 pages. Okay, anyway, sorry, go on.
No,
Laura, you were saying?
It's 400 pages, and so the way that it starts out is really awesome, because you go into like the psychology of it and then the science of it and formulas, and I'm like, how are formulas involved in shadow work? So I'm sitting there and I'm reading this and I'm like, damn, like she's pulling in things that I never thought about. So then as I'm going through it, you break the suits down and the majors down into elements and the powers, the shadow powers that they hold, so forth and so on. And then towards the back of the book is like the workbook section where you get to apply what you've read in previous sections. And I actually did last night. I was like, okay, I'm gonna test drive this. And so I did a spread, which was your shadow work on your parents. And I was like, okay, and I quit and I'm done because this is freaking me out. So I just want you to talk a little bit about the course, because isn't this the one that you created for Ethany's summer school?
It is. So what people, I don't know if people realize it, but if you actually follow, so I try to make it seem very beginner level, very colloquial, and it's easy to follow and step by step. But once you get through it, what I've actually presented is inner alchemy. It's actually advanced Taoist techniques where you're learning how Qi Gong, you're learning how to readjust the Qi in your body so that you can harness energies from the universe. It's all basically, it's a form of Taoist practice that's a little bit more advanced, but I try to bring it down at a level where people don't, if I say, oh, let me teach you Taoist inner alchemy, well, I'll have like 3 people sign up, you know? And so I want to try to like really, you know, bring something that has always worked for me to to as many people as possible and get them to, you know, go through these steps of learning how to improve your own physiology and also connect to higher sources to improve the dynamics of your own power. And so shadow work for me, we talk a lot about shadow work, but why should I look at my own inner demons? What's the purpose of going there? And so the reason you want to face your own shadow is because at the other side of that is your power. And so your power always lies after your shadow. And that's why shamans and a lot of practitioners and sensitives, they always have more difficult lives, because at the end of the difficult life is to, you know, achieve connection with your gifts and to manifest your powers. And so shadow work is pretty much the same thing. You have to walk through the fire in order to get to the other side and see truly, you know, what you're able to, what you're capable of. And so that's what I wanted to bring people on, that journey of getting you to the other side, so you really are able to do things that, without sounding like gimmicky, like, you know, manifest prosperity and really understand money manifestation and really understand how you can achieve things that otherwise seemed impossible. How do you become a millionaire? How do you become a multimillionaire? How do you do things that seem impossible based on where you are right now? And that's by activating your inner power.
Yeah, you're so speaking to me right now. You have no idea.
It's fascinating, actually. It is.
Well,
it's fascinating.
And the level of, the other thing that I wanted to mention is the level of occult knowledge specifically that you bring into your courses. And it's, I mean, even in this one, I mean, you include like Book of Shadow pages. I think that's in your other course more so, but you include things from your own grimoire. You include occult knowledge that isn't well known, which is fascinating because some of this stuff is not easy to dig up, you know.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And see, as someone who I like the occult, and I'm rather fond of a bit of dirty low magic, but when I look at the imprints of your magic and the information that you share, it has that golden dawn higher magic aspect to it, and then it has sort of like an Eastern flavor to it as well, and it's a very different kind of energy to me banging around a fire with my shamanic drum, like covered in paint. You know, it's, you know, I'm getting stuff out of that, and I'm fascinated by how you're getting stuff out of what you're doing. And you obviously are, because you are a powerhouse of information. The type of content that you pump out is actually startling to me. Like, I'm not joking when I say, look, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you. Literally a stack of books fell on my floor. I was doing this for Allora. See, one of my absolute favorite books from the tarot is Tarot Wisdom by Rachel Pollack. She's a little bit of a hero of mine, right? And this is a very, very big book. It's a big book. It's probably one of the biggest. This is Holistic Tarot. There. That one there is Holistic Tarot. Like, it's fat, it's heavy, and it is a reference book. It's the ultimate reference book. So if you know your tarot, if you don't know your tarot, you're going to get something out of this, and you're going to get something different depending on your already cultivated knowledge base. And so everything you touch seems to multiply into 400 plus pages. Where does that come from? Where does that voracious writer aspect and that desire to essentially propagate all this intense information, like how do you do it? How do you put such intense content out there? I'm so fascinated.
I don't really know. I just have really good time management on one, like to put it sort of in mundane terms. It's something that I'm passionate about. And when you're passionate about something, you know, I have that drive to want to do it. But I think beyond that, it's I want people to have access. I think I came from a culture where occult was taken in the literal sense, where there was a very strong sense of exclusivity that I've never really resonated with. I never really liked that idea of exclusivity and how, you know, you can't do this, only I can do this, you need to have this lineage, you need to have that. And so that was sort of the culture that I grew up in, and I never really liked that. So I wanted to be able to bring this information to, you know, a public, you know, platform where there was access to it. But then I found what's interesting is, even if you know how they say hidden in plain sight, you can bring the access to the people, but not everybody will walk the walk. And it's interesting how ultimately people exclude themselves, and there is still always that one person that rises to the top. And it's not even like you have to intentionally exclude. So many people don't go through the trouble of, for example, reading holistic tarot to understand what I was trying to do with that book, or the Tao of Craft. I think a lot of times people just look at the surface of things, and they don't look at what's, like I said, hidden in plain sight. So it's interesting, but that's sort of my motivation, to try to get as many people as possible to access what I know to be very beneficial to my life.
That's a very good point. And I would just like to say, for those, like, I often talk to my sort of fellow witches here in my region about not doing the work. Like, everyone wants to change, everyone wants to upskill, everyone wants to learn, they want to evolve, they want to have these shifts, they want to understand things at a deeper level. But there's a failure to do the work, like to really do the work. It's not as, you know, when you commit to something, it's not as simple as just reading. It's reading, it's analyzing, it's taking notes, it's contemplating, like it's the whole shebang. And if you're not prepared to do the work, then you're really not going to get too much out of it. So I would just like to say that if you are out there and you're watching this, one of you people that just doesn't like to do the work, I would recommend the Tarot and Shadow course, the shadow mapping course that Wen's got, because that might tell you why it is that you can't seem to, I don't know, do the work. Like, why don't you want to go deeper? Like, why don't you push yourself further? Why are you the excuse maker? Why are you the grand procrastinator? And I can say this with love, because I sit somewhere there. I'm there somewhere. I've got heaps of stuff to do, and I'm just like, procrastinate. So take it, see what happens. Like, really try to get to know yourself a little bit better, because it sounds like that is what your material largely entails. It's this self-development, this understanding of the self from a deeply spiritual, occult, esoteric style perspective, but also something that can be integrated into an everyday to help better process the way one perceives their reality to be. So it's very consciousness expanding, in which case it's a helping thing. It's a tool for positive development.
It's funny, a lot of people always talk about, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. But it's funny how people always say, oh, I don't really know what my higher purpose is, or my life purpose. I want to know myself. I'm on a journey of self-discovery. But what I found for me, just in terms of what worked for me, when I don't think about myself, and instead of thinking about what my own higher purpose is, I just study astrology. I just study, you know, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, what that means, house 1, house 2, and how they interconnect. When I start studying astrology and the philosophy behind astrology, when I study Qigong and Taoism, Taoist magic, necromancy, when I start trying to understand, even if it's just as a metaphor, whether it's as a metaphor, psychology, or even the real actual existence of different realms, subterranean realms, you know, necromancy, like I said, medium. When I understand these other realms, I find that ultimately it came back to me understanding myself better. And I didn't have to ask myself what my higher purpose was or what my life purpose was. These things just became clear on their own by rather studying myself, studying things way, way beyond myself. And so that's what I hope to do if people can study the tarot imagery and tarot symbolism and study astrology, they ultimately, without knowing so, incidentally will understand more about themselves. So
that is just endlessly fascinating. So I have a audience question from Kat that I would love to ask you, because I would love to know the answer myself. So she asks, out of your holistic tarot and your astrology courses, which should you learn first?
Which one should you learn first? Whichever one you gravitate toward. The astrology course is basic astrology 101. Tarot is tarot 101. The tarot as a tool for craft, I don't think is necessary. It's not a beginner's class. It's the tarot as a tool for craft is presumed that you've already studied holistic tarot. So what I did there was holistic tarot. It did take the magic out of tarot. I wanted you to really get into tarot from a rote learning perspective, to master the history, the cult, to just really understand tarot and the symbolism and understand where it came from, the context, and not really think about it from a magical standpoint, because you can't run before you walk. And so the tarot as a tool for craft is presuming you've already mastered tarot with holistic tarot, and now you want to know how to use tarot to, for example, access the Akashic records, or use tarot to read into past lives, or use tarot to summon different celestial or inner or outer contacts. So it gets beyond holistic tarot. It basically begins where holistic tarot ends. So either begin with holistic tarot if you want to learn tarot 101, or begin with the astrology course if you want to learn astrology 101. But both, I think it's just two different forks, and people will choose different ones based on what resonates with them.
Nice. Did you mean to do tarot for craft as a second piece, or was that the idea behind it, why you did it, or did they just magically seem to be a cohesive kind of? Because I've skimmed both of them. Again, I'm like knee deep in this, so I've skimmed a little bit of each, but I don't want to dive in too much until I get done with this. But they do seem to both very well, like you said, one just kind of picks up where the other left off. So again, now that I rambled, so was that done purposefully, or did it just kind of magically happen?
It was purposefully, in the sense that I knew after holistic tarot, I wanted to do something, write something that took tarot to the next level. Well, not next level, but took tarot to introduce tarot in a way that is more aligned with my actual practice, because I felt like a lot of people didn't know how I actually practiced tarot. And so that's where that came from. But whether or not it would manifest as a book or a course, that I didn't know. And so that was not on purpose. It just sort of by accident became a class.
That's awesome. I love it. I love it. All right. So we can fit in everything that we have planned into the time that we have. I want to move on to our rapid fire, if that is okay with everybody. Yes? Yeah. So
it is. I just quickly wanted to ask, though, because there's a little bit of speculation in the chat stream. B Wen, are you a Virgo?
No, I'm not a Virgo.
I didn't think so.
My polar ascendant is a Virgo, though. So if you know polar ascendants, your polar ascendant sign is usually the sign that people think you are, or people presume you to be. And so I'm a Virgo polar ascendant, interestingly enough. But sun, moon, and rising, no Virgo. Yeah.
Interesting indeed. I love it. So to take over the rapid fire trivia, I'm actually going to hand it over to Allora. No, I'm not. I lied. I lied. Are you still with us? Are you still here? Allora. Hello?
Allora?
Hello? Hello?
Yeah.
Come back. Yeah. Come back to us. Yeah. Yes.
Can you see me?
Yes.
Yes. There was a moment there, though.
Well, it went all crazy, and I couldn't hear anybody, and I missed what Benebelle said her sun sign is, so I don't know. It just cut you out.
It's okay. It's not important.
No, but I want to know. What is it?
Libra. My sun sign is a Libra.
Ah, okay. That makes sense. I'm a fan of
holding it down.
Oh, God.
Oh, my gosh.
Don't even start.
All right, so the part that you missed too, I'm actually passing it over to you, Allora, to begin our rapid fire trivia. We were all sitting here I was like, and I'm handing it over to Allora, and then you were just like silent, still on mute over there, and I was like, No, I'm not. I'm not. Okay, I'm not gonna.
It's a total bummer that when you freeze, like the face is rarely ever flattering.
I know, you're like, okay. Okay, you ready, Benebell?
Sure.
Here we go. Okay, what haven't you taught that you would like to teach?
Witchcraft.
Woo!
Sorry.
Okay, Avalon.
First impressions. I didn't really think. It just, well, okay, go on.
Fine. The cheesiest tarot deck in your collection. The cheesiest, the worst one, the one that it's shameful to own.
Okay, so so there's the Hello Kitty, but I'm not ashamed. But it's a little cheesy, the Hello Kitty. What I am a little bit ashamed of, I actually have a Doreen Virtue tarot deck.
I'm ashamed of you. I'm ashamed.
That's so funny. You fit in with us so well. You fit in so well.
Honorary host.
Oh, for sure. All right, that makes me next. Favorite form of divination?
Tarot.
Okay. I'm totally stealing this from you, Avalon. So, tarot reading in your underwear, yes or no?
I've never done it. No, I haven't.
Avalon.
Okay, what's your ride
You're
or
muted.
die deck?
Just
Can't
the
live
regular
without it. Have to have it
rider
with you.
Rider, just so well, actually, ride or die deck would be this one only, and it's not because, okay, here's the thing, it's not because it's the golden universal, it's because of how connected I am. I actually didn't really like the imagery on the cards, but you know what I mean? You know how you connect to the vibrations of a particular deck, even though superficially you don't love it? So this one, because it just happened. Whatever happened, so that one.
Whatever happened, happened. Yeah.
Yes.
That is awesome. So my second question is from none other than the Tarot Bro Goat himself. Favorite pizza toppings?
Pineapples and ham.
Hawaiian! Yay!
Okay, what is your favorite tarot card?
Oh, Ace of Cups. Because
That's
it
a good
reminds
one.
me to pursue my holy grail.
Nice.
Spoken like the master she is. Fuck, now I've got to come up with, I've got a list of 10 questions and now I'm like, oh, which is the fucking best one? Such good answers. I feel like my questions are unworthy. Fuck, why am I not smarter? I guess I'll take the astrology and find out. No, I've got one. What is your favorite tarot resource? Hands down, favorite tarot resource.
Oh, sure. Facebook. Facebook. I love Facebook.
You heard it here first, people. You heard
If
it here
I have
first.
a question, somebody on Facebook will know and know much more than I had actually asked about. So yeah, Facebook.
That's so true, though. That's a smart answer. It is.
True,
All right,
it's true.
so my next question is shadow work or light work?
Shadow work.
Really? That was a question? Like, come on.
I'm sorry that I was not allowed to be in the meeting where y'all came up with your questions. I had to come up with mine on my own. Rude.
But that's because shadow work is light work for me. So I don't think there can be adequate light work without shadow work. So shadow work precedes light work.
Okay.
So
what is your tarot? Do you have, and what is your tarot weakness? Like, is there something in tarot that you still struggle with?
Putting things in a way that's palatable to somebody who's paying for a reading. I'm when I see something, do you know what I'm saying? Like when you see something and you're like, oh shit, how do I phrase this so that I'm telling the truth and I'm staying, I'm still keeping my integrity, but at the same time, it's a way, because I'm not really a counselor and I'm not like very like, oh, they're there. How, I'm not very good at, like, for example, when people are in grief, I'm not good at that. So when I see something where there's grief in the cards, I don't really know how to say it in a way without coming across, too too curt. So that's my biggest weakness.
Yeah, I struggle with that too.
I think we can all say we probably struggle with that, because I'm not too deep into the emotions either. I'm just like, well, here it is. Here's what's gonna happen, and they're like, wow. I'm like, well,
I think it's a good thing though. I think it's a good thing, because if you're going to someone for advice, then the last thing you want is that person being overly compassionate to the point where they're sobbing into a handkerchief as well. So I have tissues on my reading table. When people come to me, they always cry, and I'm like, yeah, have a tissue, take your time. Would you like a cup of tea? I don't actually go, oh, there now, it's going to be all right. I'm like, no, let's get on with it in a nice way and build a bridge, essentially. But my question is, who is your tarot role model? Role model. Why can't I say role? Role model.
Mary Greer and Christine Payne Towler.
I'm with you on Greer. Yes, I'm with you on Greer.
Greer and Payne Towler, yeah.
All right, my next question is, would you rather be around a hippie who doesn't bathe or a snooty, obnoxious person who smells good?
Oh, this is so bad. A snooty, obnoxious person who smells good.
I did not expect that answer. I did not.
I'm such a bitch.
Hey, at least you keep it real.
At least it's an honest answer. That's what this is for, honesty.
Smell is everything though. Like, nobody wants to be stuck in an elevator with a stinky asshole, hey? You know, I think if you're stinky, then generally you're an asshole because you're stinky. Like, so snooty and obnoxious and stinky asshole, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's
Oh my
a
God.
little bit of
I think I just lost a couple of followers and subscribers from that question.
Oh my God. Okay, so I'll ask you this question. This one is very. Stop laughing. Okay. Breathe. Okay. So this is for Avalon, since she just damaged slightly her Sun and Moon tarot. Have you ever damaged the tarot deck? And breathing.
I have never damaged my tarot decks because I'm this, you know, I don't damage tarot decks, but other people have damaged my tarot decks. So.
Were you able to fix it?
No, one of them, someone spilled red wine on my tarot deck. People, when they're shuffling, they like bend, like, I don't know what it is with people in shuffling, you know, they bend and fold my cards. So, but I'm pretty careful with my cards because I'm kind of anal retentive like that. And so when you're anal retentive, you don't really break things.
It's a true thing. It's a true thing. So, are you a riffle shuffler or a handover?
Handover. I shuffle like this.
She's on my team, bitches. Because she doesn't damage her tarot decks. See, that's the reason.
Our tarot decks are polar opposite, because mine are just ruined and bent to shit. I'm trying to find, like, I just, like, all my cards look like shit because I riffle shuffle them and play in the dirt with them, and polar opposite. But my next question is, would you rather work out or sleep?
Workout.
She's on my team now. What?
Oh my God. I didn't know we were having teams. I just want to be friends with everybody.
That's not true.
Getting called out. Okay, let's see. Okay, you ready? Here we go. What tarot deck do you think should never have been printed?
Oh, is there a pass? Do I get to plead? I mean, like, even
No,
like, can I plead the fifth?
Yeah, you get pass.
Right? I mean, like, first of all, you know already. Do I have to answer that question?
We would like to hear you say it.
So we threw this one at Arwen, and she swerved around that so smooth.
She was like, no, we're just not even gonna go.
Like a professional driver, she just went all the way around it and like did this Tokyo drift all the way around it and came in the park, and we couldn't even argue with her. You were like, oh, okay.
So that one's out of bounds. That's how you know someone's boundaries.
Well, the real answer, what my real answer is that I don't think that that's the right thing for me to say. You know, we are all judgmental, so I'm, you know, I have my judgments as well. But ultimately, you know, everything should be printed because it's there for somebody, you know. And so I think that's what Arwen was saying, you know. So Arwen's right. Every deck is there for somebody. So I will say whatever she said. I dovetail on Arwen.
That was Avalon's question, by the way.
They're predominantly most of my questions, aren't they?
Yeah,
Mine are my own. Mine are my own.
No, not all of them.
Yes, all
Answer
of them
to
are
this
mine.
question. Is there a question on your list that was not given by me?
So my next question is,
Yes, bitch, my first question. That one was all me.
leave me alone. God.
We twin-brained it. We twin-brained it.
Whose turn is it?
It's not mine because I'm out of questions.
I have one more. Cats or dogs?
Go.
Cats.
And that's
it.
where
We knew it. We knew it.
That's it. And that's the end of our rapid fire. So we rapid fired. We learned so much. Bonded. Like we bonded seriously as a group of people that like cards. We just did.
Showing up
Nuts.
did.
Deep.
Showing up
It was
did.
deep.
And we got it
Big real.
all in an hour. Look at us being super duper effective and efficient. Go us.
That's right.
Our girl loves that. Loves that.
Loves it. So do we want to now move into taking some audience questions, and so that Benebelle can be part maybe of a couple of them before she has to kindly bow out?
Yeah, we're gonna, guys, we're gonna stay on for a little bit and do our normal read stuff, but Benebelle's gonna dip out a little bit early. And so if you guys have questions, type them in all caps. And Jennifer is so great and is in the chat, and she will make sure that we see them. All caps.
It's true. She does
We
a
all
great
have to
job.
go
Thank you.
celebrate this amazing eclipse, right?
Consecrate
Yeah,
your
yeah.
tools. It's a good moon for consecrating all of your sacred altar tools.
I have
There you
mine.
go.
I have all of mine already in like my trunk, and I'm going to drag it out to my chimenea, and I'm going to cleanse them all.
I have too many tools to drag them outside. I would need a removable roof. What I would need is just to roll out my roof and then like let everything bask in the glory that is the astrological occurrences of the sky, and then just pull the roof back over. See, I am destined to live in a yurt. I'm destined. Why the fuck can't this happen for me? I just want a yurt. Explain. That's it. That's my gripe now. So somehow we went from eclipse to I want to fucking live in a yurt.
You know, when I was house hunting, that was so important to me to be able to have like that space. So my second floor has a solarium, and so I live at the very top of the hill, and then the solarium at the top from my, so it's exactly north, south, east, west, and I can always see the sun rising. So the full moon is immediately on top of the solarium, so I can drag all my stuff out into the solarium, and then open all of the ceiling windows, and so the moon shines through. So that was something that was really important for me when I was house hunting because of what I do, because of my craft.
Okay, we have a question. Fred West wants to know, how does he bulk order stuff from your site? Can you do that?
I don't know. Just email me what you want, and then I'll send it.
Well, there you go. That answers that.
All right. Good.
Hi, Fred.
Yeah. Fred and Ben know each other.
Yeah.
They sure do. So, what deck is everybody using? I got my English Magic.
Oh,
Do you have
Magic Tarots? Nice.
Do you even have to? I'm just going to let you tell everybody because you already know.
So Laura's going to be using the New Era elements, and Avalon's going to be using her now slightly damaged Sun and Moon Tarot. And Benebelle, what are you using?
I am using this deck that I can't shuffle because it's bigger than, like, it's the same size as my head. And so, but this is the one that I'm going to be using. I'm going to be sort of shuffling like this, but it is already well randomized, so it should be good to go.
It's the Rider-Waite Smith book. that's been turned into
right.
a
So, but I
tarot
can't
deck.
remember. I
But
think
it's fine.
yeah, I think AJ Mueller is the publisher, maybe. So.
Aha.
Awesome.
I don't think I didn't even tell you what deck I was using, did I?
I did.
Didn't you say air elements?
No, I never told you. That's what I was saying. Like, that was the whole point of the exercise, because y'all already know, like, what I'm gonna use.
I see.
Oh, and I also want to use my Oracle deck. So I want to use my I Ching Oracle deck as well. So
Yes.
hang on. When you say your Oracle deck, is it because you made it or because it's the one that you have?
no, this is the one that I made. So it comes. So this is the I Ching book, the 64 hexagrams, and then what I did was I took these 64 hexagrams and I turned it into a 64 card Oracle deck. And so that's what this is. And so it makes I Ching reading a lot easier. So
Is that for sale?
you have it. What are you talking about?
I do. I have that. Oh my God.
It's in your materials.
Oh, that's amazing.
With a step-by-step illustrated guide on how to print it out with makeplayingcards.com. So you already have it.
You're the best.
I just had a braingasm then. That was awesome. Thanks.
We
Right?
appreciate you.
We can put that on the end of any word here at STW.
I think we're randomly sensual by accident. Hey, I think we're just
sensual by accident.
You
randomly
use
sensual by
sensual.
accident. Everything sounds saucy. Everything just accidentally sounds saucy. It's like, look at my big dick, and that sounds saucy.
The biggest deck. My deck's bigger than yours.
I got deck envy now.
I have two decks. How many decks do you have?
My deck's damaged.
I all of a sudden have this weird, really odd sensation that I need to go make mine bigger. I don't like balancing my masculinity. I don't know what to do.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. I'm gonna have to scroll here, guys, because I don't.
Yeah, we've been talking for a minute. There's quite a few questions.
Oh, really? Okay. Let's pull one card each. Yeah. Well, Bwen, you're the guest, so you can pull 1,000 if you want. We'll allow it.
Cool.
Okay. The first question here is from Rebel Child Tarot. How can I take steps to be more budget conscious? And basically, we're just all going to put one card and then stack on each other. That's how we do it.
I got the Fool, so you've got absolutely no chance of being budget conscious. No, I'm just joking. You have to start from the beginning. You literally have to start from the very beginning. And that goes down to, sit down and do a weekly budget. Do a weekly budget. Take everything into consideration. Go over your bills and just start putting everything down. Like you're starting from the very, very beginning. And special note on, if you do what you've always done, you'll have what you've always had. So optimize your approach. Try something different. Free it up a little bit. Don't make it feel like it's a chore. Inject it with a little sense of adventure and enthusiasm. Give yourself a goal towards the end of your great budgeting. Understand that if you are budgeting, that you should have a nice little goal there as a great incentive, and just have a good time with it. But start from the very beginning.
Can I go next so that I'll dovetail off of what you said? Everything that you said, I agree with. And then I actually got a major arcana. So this lady has some big stuff to do. So I have the Emperor. Discipline and order is going to be very important. I also pulled hexagram 55. So what's interesting is you have this card, which is Mars, but it's also fire related. And then hexagram 55 is thunder over fire. So one of the things that I would say based on both of these cards is, in addition to the more practical stuff, which you already know, I don't have to tell you. The thing that I do maybe have to tell you is to work on your root chakra. And if you strengthen your root chakra and start from there, you'll be able to find the energy that you need to, a lot of things that you aren't able to do. For example, you know what you have to do, but you can't do it, is because you don't have that extra power to feel what it is that you need to do. And that's because you're not having an activated root chakra. So start with the fire inside of you, summon up the fire from inside of you. If you can get that fire going, then you can actually have enough inner fuel to do what it is that you need to do, and you don't have to ask these questions. So root chakra work.
I guess I will try somehow to follow that up. That was amazing. So actually what fell out of my deck as I was shuffling was the Ace of Coins. So I'm just going to be like the super repetitive, like monotonous person that gets to just say what everybody else said. And, you know, the Ace of Coins is when we talk about, you know, the Kabbalah, the ace is very much the seed. You know, this is before, you know, when you talk about coming into the twos, we're talking about the actual energy, the carrying out of, you know, whatever the message of the tarot cards are. You know, the ace is very much in the planning phase. So, you know, this just seconds what everybody else was saying. This is like the planning phase. So go back, start from the beginning, and just really make a plan, make a budget. You know, the things that you feel are important to you, you know, obviously you want to budget those in first. So things like food and are the things that sustain us obviously come first. And then as you figure out how much all that is going to cost you, then you can sort of piece by piece add in, you know, all the fun things. Cause you know, we are human. So we don't exist on this world just to pay our bills and die. Like we want to go out and we want to have drinks and we want to hang out with friends. We want to go see movies. We want to do these things. So, and we can, no matter what our budget is, we just have to make sure that we budget in all of the right things first. So start from the beginning, go from there.
My turn. Yay. Okay, so my card is the Nine of Wands. In this deck, it is pictured as a, help me out, what's this called? Atomic reactor, lasers, whatever. Anyways, point is, this card in this deck is really about focus. And you have to be focused on wanting to follow a budget, because that's a problem for us sometimes. You know, we make a budget, we make a plan, and then we're like, oh, fuck this. Like, I want to spend my money on what I want to spend it on. So I think focus is a big thing. And I also feel like what Benebell said about root chakra work, when you do that, focus as well. I mean, you can say do root chakra work and then you do it and you don't get anything out of it because you're not really focusing there. And for me personally, the bottom three chakras are like my Achilles heel. It takes a lot of focus and work and time and effort to do that. But yeah, so just focus on your budget and actually stick to it. Okay, Lisa has a question and she has to like get going. So, and her question was actually first. I'm sorry, you guys are typing so fast I can't keep up. And her question is, how will the band Strawberry Moon go?
I should have been shuffling that whole time and I wasn't. And now I regret that because I was so busy listening.
And now we have to live with the reactions of our choices now going through.
There's nothing nicer than having a little like shuffle sound though. Like the shuffle sounds quite soothing, I think. It could almost be ASMR if done by the right person in the right circumstance. Who wants to go first?
Oh, I'll go since I already pulled out my cards. So we have King Charlemagne. Well, I like to call him King Charlemagne, the King of Cups. So this is actually good. If you're talking about music, this is arts and culture. This is very much about music, the Renaissance man. And there's this idea of reigning. And so this is really good for a band or something like that. It's a very good omen. Then, however, we do have a little bit of a message. I like how I Ching here is saying, but we have hexagram 3, which is the initial challenge. So in the beginning, there's difficulty at the beginning, says this card. And it's this idea of a blade of grass is pushing against a rock. And how do you get that blade of grass to grow outside of the rock? And it's going to be waiting for the rain to come, and the rain is going to crack the rock. And that's what this hexagram is all about. So there's this idea of divine intervention. And interesting, rain is water, water is the King of Cups. And so we do have this continuity here where there's this idea of divine intervention is going to crack open some of the initial challenges and let that blade of grass grow through and into the incredible fruition that you're destined for. And what do you have,
I
Avalon?
have to go next. I have to go next because mine is the rain damaged world card, and you're talking about.
Vibes are high.
This is the actual card that was damaged. It's quite creased. It's got water markings all over it. But B-Wen was just talking about the special emphasis on water there. And this is my rain damaged card, like open stars, rain pouring down on this tarot deck. And this is my rain damaged card, but it is the world card. So a tremendous amount of fruition can be had, you know, if you can burst through or just stick with it, you know, have the resilience to go through those initial challenges. And initial challenges are everything that are quite normal with beginning a project. And I think that it's your fire and your drive to achieve, and you know, literally the fire in your heart to achieve will allow you to reach this beautiful stage of a very warped, wet world card. It's dry now, but it's damaged, but it's awesome that it's world.
Okay, Chase, what card did you draw? I'm curious. I can't see it.
I drew the King of Swords. And so the King of Swords, I love the King of Swords in this deck particularly because I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see this if I get really super close with it. You can notice in backwards, it's written backwards and upside down. It says above all force. And particularly in this deck, the King of Swords is seen as kind of this man who has, like, there's a story of the King of Swords that goes throughout the entire Swords deck. And, you know, it kind of tells a story of him at the beginning, and then this is sort of him at the end. And in this card, we see that his horse is dancing in the background. So this is a victory card. This is a good thing's coming, but I keep putting it down. I don't know why. And, but we do see the king is sort of looking down, and the king is sort of, he is victorious. He's taken off his helmet and he's looking down at his crown. So it's going to be a victory, but it's going to be with a little bit of cost. And what I really am sort of divining through all of that is that I think once you find your foundation, just as you start to build success in your band, I do foresee some changes happening, whether that's a change of drummer or, you know, something like that. What you start with may not be what you end with, but it will still see success. So.
Okay, is it my turn now?
Yes.
I get to be the warm hug at the end of all of this. It's going to be tough, and stick with it. But the Sun card came out for me, so I think that even through the issues that you're going to face, if you stick with it, everything is going to be awesome. And with the sun and growing things, you know, you have to be planted before you can grow. You have to go down before you can rise up. So just keep that in mind, and it's going to be sunny.
That's crazy how all four linked together, because you have like the two kings, and then you have like the idea of growth, the blade of grass growing through, the water, the rain. It's so crazy. It's like kind of creepy.
Oh yeah, we blow ourselves away all the time when we read.
Yeah, we blow our own minds because somebody will say something and I'll hold up my card and be like, yeah, that's what, yeah. And so then I go, and then the next person will hold up their card and be like, yeah, that's what I just drew. It's weird. Just the way that how synchronistic we all are is just blowing our minds.
Oh, beautiful. Well, B-Wen, do you have time for one more, or do you need to get going?
I can stay around. I've been texting, you know, my hubby. He's okay with it. He's off doing his own thing. So.
All right. Well, then that moves us through to the next question. Will the questions manager please manage the questions?
Questions manager?
That is a real title. That is a real title, and you earned it. Congratulations, question manager.
Give her a crown.
Fuck you all. Okay.
I don't know that I have a crown, but I can probably get out like a paper name tag with like a safety pin attached to it. I'll put it in some really pretty font, maybe, you know, like laminate it. I don't know that I have any lamination paper, but I'll have like some
glitter on it because she sparkles. She sparkles.
I can wrap it in some.
See what I did there? I turned him on.
Oh my God. Spread their switches where freedom of speech is not permitted. Neither are smelly hippies.
Okay, I'm sorry. sorry, I'm crying. Okay, back to the questions.
All right.
Okay, Chrome 166. What can I do to help the company I work for make it through a major upcoming obstacle?
Ooh. Interesting.
I'm sorry, will you repeat that? I was keeping up with the chat.
Oh yeah, the questions managers got this shit. What can I do to help the company I work for make it through a major upcoming obstacle? Oh look, Christina D done give me a crown. Lots of them. So.
Mine's not really a starter card. I've drawn mine, but I don't think it should be the first one. It shouldn't be the first cab off the rank. So
Me either.
I've drawn mine too. I don't think I should go first either.
Chase, you're the man. Go.
I don't want to start either. Okay, so I got it. I will take the reins and I will leave it to the man of the group to have to start all of this off. All right, so I'm just kidding. I love you guys. But I'm gonna start off with the 3 of Cups. So in this deck particularly as well, and I'm trying to get as close to the screen as I can. So you notice in this 3 of Cups, there is a lot of like weird, awkward things going on. Like it looks like it's not completed. And so what we can kind of infer from this deck, and I know this because I've read the book that goes with the deck, but what this is trying to depict is that this is like a man looking at a painting in a painting. So we have here like the cups. You can see the bottom of the cups through the table, and the table only has 3 legs, and you see the picture of the leg of the easel going through. So basically what this card is saying is that whatever you have that's unfinished, complete it. And I think that goes really well with your question, because a company can't move forward with unfinished projects. Everybody's got to be on their A game and has to have everything on their to-do list done. So I think that is what would benefit you the most. Just get stuff done.
okay, I can definitely follow that because I've got the 4 of Cups. See how that happened? Everything as it should. My initial thought is that if this is the company that you work for, I think that company morale is quite low at the moment, and that people are very bored and disengaged, and that you need quite a bit of injection of energy into the company to allow it to rise, because it sounds like it is literally plummeting at this moment in time. And so I would definitely start working on the emotional stability or the emotional wellness or the mindfulness aspect of your workplace at this moment in time, and just make sure that everyone's heads in the game and everyone's on the same page, because it makes absolutely no sense if just one person is trying and the rest are not. And so you need to make sure that you're all on the same page for this one, and figure out a way to get everybody involved in a process that then can benefit the company in literally, recovering from or recouping some of the losses that I feel that you're trying to speak of in this scenario. So that's my 4 of Cups, which oddly enough in this deck is called Luxury. And that's not really how I feel about that card. Thank you, Sun and Moon.
Okay, I guess I'll go. So the hexagram is 18. It's Gu, which is poison, and so there's this idea of, I think that something is infected, sort of figuratively infecting the company, or something needs to be eradicated. And then the card that I picked was the Knight of Pentacles. So it seems like there might be sort of a plateau when it comes to the financial income, and it's because there is something that's rotting inside, and once that thing that's rotting is eradicated, then a more healthy grow can happen. And so I think also there's going to be some sort of reduction or downsizing, or just in terms of finances, being a lot more fiscally conservative and having to sort of go in and go down, retreat a little bit, and take it slow. And again, I do see something having to be cut out. And once that thing is cut out, you know, the growth will happen a little bit better later on.
Okay, and my card is the Son of Water, which I'm going to piggyback off of Avalon's card mostly for this one, because I feel like a lot of empathy is needed in this situation with your coworkers. And also, hold on just a second. It's talking to me. I don't know. I just see like, okay, so I guess the warning that I'm getting with this card is, yes, there needs to be a lot of empathy and support and all of that. But at the same time, don't be delusional about the hope and support, because we can get to a place where we want to wish and hope that a situation is different. And then when it doesn't work out the way that we hoped it would, we get disappointed. So keep your feet on the ground, be realistic about what's going on, but still be that supportive, empathetic person to your surrounded environment, coworkers, bosses, whoever. And for some other reason, this card's also talking about being creative and artistic, for the specific question, as to what you can do to help. So keep those things in mind. All right, who's next? Or should we let Benebell go? Yeah.
I
You
can
want
go.
your husband?
I'll stay a little longer.
Sorry, there's actually a question here specifically for her. It's not like a tarot question. It's literally like a question.
There's a couple in
Where
there.
was it?
There's a couple.
The Tiger's Abyss.
I can answer
Are the
them.
King's Fire and the Knight's Air in the holistic tarot? Question mark.
Are the kings? Yeah, kings are fire for me. Earth is page, queen is water. Yeah. What about, yeah? That's right.
Yep. Okay. And then there's one here from Paula. How much can you learn about yourself through astrology when you don't know what time you were born?
Still a lot. So if you know the day of your birth and you know all of the signs, you might not know of the houses, but the signs is a lot. And then also seeing the angel. So basically how you approach it will be different. So if someone knows the exact date of birth, the way you do details is you go into house analysis, decan analysis, degree analysis, Sabian symbols. If you don't know, you can either do rectification of a chart, which is more advanced, where you figure out the time of birth, or if you don't want to do a chart rectification, then what you do is you look at just the planets and their signs, and then the relationship, and you just go very deep. You dig deeply into the relationships between the planets. You can know a lot about, you know, how you think, the way you process information. You can know a lot, for example, about also Chiron, higher purpose things, inner demons, inner angels. There's plenty, so worth exploring.
We have to go back to that first question, because I guess Tiger's Abyss wanted to know why the kings are fire and the knights are air.
Oh, so I followed, crap, who was it? Was it Anton Coeur de Gabelin, or? So it's.
Is that how you pronounce his fucking name? Amazing. I'm always trying to pronounce his goddamn name. Always. Did you just say Gabelin? Anton Coeur de Gabelin. I'm sitting here going Gleblin, Gabelin. Honestly, in just about all of my Bonestone bashes, I'm like, Anton Gleb. You see me stutter. And I'm like, will somebody please tell me how to pronounce this? And nobody's been able to. Gabelin.
Oh, well, maybe it's Degablam, or it's a Taylor, or maybe it's a Taylor. But so I looked at the older texts and I literally copied. So the thing is, with holistic tarot, none of it is original. I didn't make any of that stuff up. Everything, all the correspondences didn't come from my head. It came from a book. And that's why you have like the 30 to 50 pages of endnotes to cite exactly all of my sources. So the reason I have that is because that's how it was done in a lot of the older Western mystery traditions. It's how we inherit the body of knowledge when we use the tarot.
Yeah, that's how I learned too. I mean, we learned the King of Wands is like the fire of fire. You know, the action of action is kind of how I've just always, that's how I learned.
And I think ultimately the reason for it goes back to Kabbalistic roots. So if you look into the Kabbalah, that's where the reasoning comes from.
Absolutely. And you know me and the Kabbalah. Love it.
Well, and the other thing I think about too, when I'm thinking about elements and things like that, and specifically with the knights, they're all messengers of some kind. And when we are talking about communication and messages, and we're talking about air, throat chakra, you know, and yeah. So I don't know. That's just how I think about it, though. Okay, next question. Yeah.
Yeah, we got
one? I don't think we have one.
I think we do.
I don't think it's there. I can't see it.
What?
How are you guys seeing the questions? I have no questions on my screen.
Oh, there's a chat off to the side. If you click the little on the left side of your screen,
the little blue box.
We could have said that earlier. Yeah, we should have explained that earlier. Yeah, and then that brings up to she's like, wow, everything makes sense. Yeah, we did not.
Also,
terrible hosts. We did not explain that earlier.
Also, Jennifer is being loving and kind, and she is copying and pasting them in the live chat for us because I couldn't keep up. Thank you.
I'm not even looking at the live chat right now.
So the next question is for Lynn, and it says, will I move from my house soon?
And then I am going to
move from my house soon?
Yes, I'm going to step in as the host too, and this is going to be the last question that we take. So if anybody else has any more questions, hang on to them. And for our next broadcast, and like we always talk about, we are going to have a show where all we do is answer your guys' questions. So we're going to step in. This is going to be our last question, and then we will call it a night.
It's already scheduled as well. I just have to write it up and put it on.
We should get a celebrity reader for that one. And when I say celebrity, I mean like people that someone we know on YouTube. I'm very loose with the term celebrity. I would say that when you're a celebrity. You're a celebrity to me.
Avalon, you're a celebrity. You have everyone knows you.
Not everyone. I can still walk around my town and people are like, hi. Actually, no, I had a supermarket experience the other day where staring at me for ages. I was like, did I do something wrong? Did my kids do something wrong? It was good times, good times. Is anyone, I could answer this one.
I'll go first, or do you want to go first?
No, I think you should go first because mine's going to be a little harsh.
Okay. So I have hexagram 29, which is pitfalls and the abyss. And then I do have the 7 of Pentacles, though. So there's a couple of ways I'm going to actually approach this question. It's a little multifaceted. It's about, when are you going to move into a house? So I do see pitfalls. There are things that are, unseen dangers, temptations. You kind of want something, maybe it's not right for you. And this card is more important. So this reminds me of the fact that Saturn is actually moving into Capricorn. Saturn is a very slow moving planet. Saturn is moving into Capricorn in December. And right now, if you know anything about real estate and financial and the securities exchange, it's a really hot market. The market is overheated and everyone is just waiting for it to burst. And if you look at the 120 years of history of Saturn moving into Capricorn, every single time Saturn moves into Capricorn, you had the Great Depression, you had the panic of 1987 was the Great Recession. Every single time Saturn moves into Capricorn, the market goes into volatility. And I looked into 120 years of the S&P 500, and it correlates every single time. And so Saturn's moving into Capricorn again to December. I wouldn't buy this year or next year. Wait till the market to drop. Once the market drops and it goes into the bottom, the abyss or the pitfall, then prices will be very low and then you can buy in. If you buy now, you're buying too high. So wait it out.
Damn. And I would definitely recommend having a look into the S&P 500. And for those who don't know, the S&P 500 is the Standards & Poor's. It's a research branch of the McGraw-Hill Foundation. And I've got the 7 of Cups, right? Fantasies and illusion. I was going to open with this and say that you're dreaming. Okay, your expectations of what you want to occur in this situation are out of control, high, and you need to bring it back down into the earthy realm previously discussed by B. Wen then, because it's very easy to get very emotional about wanting to move, the reasons why we want to move, and also the places that we want to move to, the homes, the dwellings themselves. It's very easy to get emotionally attached to those ideas, and our imaginations and our emotions can blend to create a fantasy, and oftentimes that leads to disappointment, because what we want, because we're highly influenced by commerce and the world that we live in, is rarely what we can really get. You know, I want to live in a Victorian. I also want to live in a yurt, so I'm okay with either one of those scenarios. But I genuinely, if I could, I would love to live in a Victorian house. Australia does not have Victorian houses. To build a Victorian-style home in Australia would cost close to $1 million. And so, you know, what I want and what I'm going to get is not necessarily the same thing. And so just really manage those expectations and be very realistic about how you approach. Make sure you put down exactly what it is that you genuinely need. On an emotional level and on a resource level, what do you need in your home? And tick the little boxes that are important. Discern need from desire and then go from there. But just keep those wins in check.
Yeah, I'm going to go next because the card that I pulled is the Five of Cups, which you basically just said everything that this card is saying. You're going to be sorely disappointed because I feel like, and I don't know why this is coming into a Cups card, but I feel like what you can afford and what you want to be able to afford are two different things. You need to go back and really think about the cost factor and the actual reality of the situation and all, you know, and all of that Avalon was just talking about, because you're setting yourself up for disappointment. So just be real about, like I said, what you can afford, what you can't afford, what's possible, what's not possible. And don't make this an emotional decision. And I feel like you're coming from a place of emotion with wanting to move, and that's not a practical place that's going to get you to a new home that is going to be permanent, so to speak. So yeah, just watch that stuff.
All right, and I will finish this up. And I unfortunately don't have anything cuddly to tell you. So 2 cards fell out of my deck, and it was the 8 and the 10 of Swords. For me, I guess apparently I'm just in love with the swords today, and I'm attracting them. So, you know, I think the key to the question that you said was, am I going to move soon? Soon? No. You can't get much more stuck than the 8 of Swords. Like that is the quintessential I'm stuck card. So, and I think the thing that you have to keep in mind too, like, could you move tomorrow? I mean, yeah, if you really wanted to, you could take free will into your own hands and you can move tomorrow. But like everybody is saying, it's not going to be what you want. So you have to take that into account as well. Again, could you move? Yeah, but should you? Nah, probably not. Because again, what Benebelle was saying, what Avalon was saying, what Allora was saying, it's not going to be what you want. You have to take your emotions out of it and, you know, really make a very mindful decision.
I feel like we need a disclaimer at the bottom of the screen when we do readings because I feel so bad sometimes with some of the things that come up.
I think it's important to note that everything is about timing too. So if the time's not right now, then adjust your processes, adjust your perspectives, your desired outcomes, etc., and then re-examine it again in 3 months. And I think 3 months is a really healthy time frame for a reading, depending on the reading, of course, but a short reading like this to settle, and then for change to occur, for things to shift, and then to have a re-examine. Also works well with doctors and dentists, so has to work with tarot, right?
Has to.
3 months for
like,
assessment.
it's like a rule, right? It is a rule. All right, you guys. So I am going to draw us to a close. Let's give one more huge thank you to Benebelle Wen for being our guest this evening. We are so honored again to have her on the show. We love her, and we know that lots of people love you as well. Your materials are fantastic. Please do go out. I know there's been a lot of banter in the chat too with what I've been keeping up with it. People have gone out and bought your courses while you've been here on the chat, so that's fantastic. Please do continue to support her because everything that she does is genuine and is amazing, and I cannot wait to dive into all the material that I have. And I personally, I will say goodbye and then let everybody else follow. You know how I always end. I love you guys immensely. Sending loving energy your way. I love you guys so much, and I will be talking to you soon.
Oh, lovely, lovely. I'm going to call it a night as well. So thanks so much for joining. I forgot to mention something important, though, in our news section, and that is that the lovely Arwen, the professional joy seeker, has taken over Cartomancer magazine. So please show her some love when you get the opportunity to do so. Give her a little bit of support, because she's easing into that role right now. So that should have really been at the beginning of the news feed. But thanks so much for joining us, guys. Wasn't B Wen amazing? She's everything that you think she's going to be, and yet so much more. She's a tasty delight.
Well, thank you, Chase, Allora, and Avalon. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it was our pleasure, because you're a fucking rock star. So thank you for even gracing us with the honor of interviewing you. And 2 quick things from me. August 14th and 15th, we're throwing specials on both of those days. The first one is going to be all card slinging. That's all we're going to do. We're going to sling cards, come with your questions. And then, that episode is the tarot deck. So one of those days is about the STW community deck. The other day is a card slinging one. I'm putting them up tonight, so keep a lookout for those. And we all love you guys. Thank you for coming, and we will see you guys next time.